while most people lazily scroll through space news, tucked somewhere in their feed between cat videos and memes, a far more significant story is unfolding above our planet. Quietly, almost imperceptibly, something is happening in the depths of space that could change our understanding of both interstellar travelers and the most ancient bodies in the solar system. Today, we will talk about two objects. One of them came from beyond our stellar home, and the second is so huge and unusual that the very word comet hardly conveys its scale and properties. Let's start with 3I Atlas, an object that has already managed to baffle astronomers. Before you is one of the most detailed images obtained to date. It is based not on modeling, not on an artist's rendering, but on a real light signal that passed through a telescope lens and was captured by a camera. If you look closely, you can see a familiar structure, a glowing coma around the nucleus and a tail stretching back, like a plume of gas and dust being detached by the solar wind. This picture is expected for cometary bodies, and there is nothing surprising about it. But if you look at the front part, a strange bright ejection directed forward, essentially in the direction of the object's motion, immediately catches the eye. This is unusual. In previous frames, this feature was so faint that it was barely distinguishable from the background noise. However, in the new image, it is immediately noticeable, bright, contrasting, as if focused. It's important to understand that such a frame is not taken in a second. This is not a random smartphone snap. It was created by carefully stacking 57 long exposures, each one minute long. A ZWO ASI 533MC Pro camera and an ASCAR 71F telescope spent almost an hour collecting tiny, faint photon signals until this pattern emerged. Thus, step by step, the picture we see now was assembled. The original publication by the image's author emphasizes how real and down-to-earth the working conditions were. Open sky, real tracking, ordinary atmospheric interference. No laboratories, no perfect conditions. Everything you see passed through a lens in the real world, which means it deserves attention. The most remarkable thing is the nature of this forward ejection. It does not look like part of a chaotic gas spray formed randomly. It seems oriented, directed, and has a meaningful shape. For an interstellar object, such directionality is extremely unusual. Typically, such bodies rotate, ejecting material in different directions, and the coma looks blurry and unstructured. But here, there is a clear line, and this is a moment that is hard to ignore. Now let's look at the data not intended for a beautiful display. These are the telescope's raw frames, what astronomers get before processing. At first glance, a noisy picture with smeared stars, but in the center, a dark, rounded silhouette is visible. That is where 3I Atlas is located. After applying methods to enhance faint structures, rotational gradients, and special filters that help highlight hidden details of the coma, the image changes dramatically. The faint, bright point in the very center, barely noticeable in the raw frame, begins to emerge more and more clearly. This very point could be a direct observation of the nucleus, a solid, compact object hidden under a cloud of evaporating material. In subsequent processing versions, the central point becomes stable and distinct. The noise dissipates, artifacts disappear, the stars continue to streak, because the telescope is tracking the moving object, but the nucleus remains a motionless spot, fixed in the same place. This is something important. If an image element repeats from frame to frame, not shifting, not disappearing, and not changing shape, then it cannot be random noise. It is a real structure, The authors of the analysis cautiously formulate the conclusion: may show. Scientific prudence is a necessity, but the coincidence of several independent processing methods yielding the same result gradually turns a hypothesis into a reliable observation. And this means it is quite possible that we are seeing for the first time the solid nucleus of an interstellar wanderer that came to us from another system. And yet, 3I Atlas is only the first part of the story. The second part is an object that forced a reconsideration of ideas about giants on the outskirts of the solar system. We are talking about C 2014 UN271, or Bernardinelli Bernstein, one of the largest comet-like bodies ever observed by humanity. Its image, often shown in the news, is not a photograph, but an artistic reconstruction. But the dimensions are real. Estimates point to a diameter of about 150 kilometers. To grasp the scale, recall that most comets range in size from a few kilometers to tens of kilometers. But here, we are talking about hundreds. This is a true giant. Now let's look at the real data. On the left, a telescopic image where the object is visible as a faint spot. In the center, a calculated model of the coma, showing how matter should be distributed around the nucleus. On the right, the nucleus, isolated using processing methods. And here another discrepancy arises. The object is not behaving as a comet should at such distances. It is showing activity, even though it is far beyond Saturn's orbit, where solar energy is so weak that ice usually sleeps. Nevertheless, observations record ejections of carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and even ammonia, substances that are released only upon heating. It turns out that this huge, cold chunk is beginning to show life under conditions where most comets remain dormant. Right now, UN271 is approximately at the level of Uranus's orbit and continues to slowly approach the Sun. But the most amazing thing is, at the moment of closest approach, the object will not even enter the region of Saturn. Its path will be limited to about 11 astronomical units, which is much farther than ordinary comets go. They dive into the center of the system, heat up, and eject streams of gas and dust. But this object, it seems, has never experienced strong heating. Its inner layers may be ancient, practically unchanged since the formation of the solar system. Because of this, predicting its behavior is difficult. It may quietly move on and disappear into the depths of space, or it may unexpectedly enter a phase of violent activity, ejecting powerful gas jets that will alter its trajectory. For a body of such size, even small ejections can create an effect of non-gravitational acceleration, a phenomenon already observed in some comets. This giant is considered the second largest comet-like object ever discovered by humans. And no matter how it is officially classified, a comet or just an unusual icy body, one thing is obvious. It is massive, it is active, and it is moving into the inner solar system, and its behavior still remains a mystery. And now a question for you. What do you think? Is 3I Atlas behaving like an ordinary interstellar wanderer? Or are we observing something completely different? And what, in your opinion, is UN271? An ancient, icy giant, an unusual comet, or an object that will force us to rewrite textbooks? Share your thoughts. I read every message. If you are interested in such deep dives into the world of distant cosmic discoveries, like and subscribe so you don't miss future content.